Everyone has a story to tell. It's my mission to tell it. Unscripted, unedited. We are on the record.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarina Fazan, a journalist, host, and producer, and of course the host of On the Record, and also the series Love in America. It's absolutely my favorite show because I am in love with love. And wait until you meet this couple, Jason and Alpa Kaylor. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, let me tell you, they walk into the studio and I'm like, wow, Mr. and Mrs. JQ, you guys are adorable.
Thank you.
All right, so Alpa, tell us a little bit about yourselves. And I love your accent. Where are you from?
I am actually, my heritage is Indian. I was born in Uganda, East Africa. And when I was 1, we moved to England. And I grew up in England, and when I was 18, we moved to Florida. So my accent's all kind of mangled, a little bit of everything, but mostly English mixed in with American. So,
Jason, don't you love hearing her talk, among many other things?
Yeah, exactly. And then when she gets around other Brits, it comes out. It's
right
fantastic. It's the best.
What is it about that English accent? I know.
Contagious, you know.
There you go, contagious. So I have to say, so my friend, our mutual friend actually, Michael Murphy, who owns Michael Murphy Gallery, and is actually a sponsor of the Sarina Fazan Network. So thank you, Michael. He's amongst the first. So I'm actually putting that on the record today. He said to me, the most beautiful woman he has ever seen is you, Alpa.
That's crazy.
I would agree. I second that.
And you do. You have the most beautiful golden eyes, and you know I'm Indian as well. So you know here we have this like Indian connection.
Yeah.
But you guys, okay? So you guys have been married for how many years?
4.5 years now.
4.5 years.
Yeah.
And you started as friends.
Yes.
And you also you were working for Jason, right?
We were working together at the same company.
Oh, yeah. Together. I'm sorry.
Completely different departments too. But you know, we'd pass each other. Mm-hmm. You know,
so we're going to go through your love story. And what one thing that's also very interesting is you are older than Jason.
Yes, by quite a bit.
So, okay, you tell us first about the age difference, and then Jason will have you weigh in a little bit too. Oh, not a little bit, a lot of it, but we'll have you weigh in too.
Well, I think when we first started talking, hanging out, spending time together, the thought of a relationship was for the furthest from my mind, just because, like, you know, I'm not going to say how many years difference it is, but it's substantial, you know.
Give us the actor comparison.
Priyanka Chopra is 10 years older than Nick Jonas.
Okay, so we'll
See,
put
it works.
I maybe have her by a couple of years still, but.
So you were thinking when you guys first met, no absolute way.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No. Yeah.
So Jason, what were you thinking? And you don't know your age anyway.
Yeah, well, to me, I said the number doesn't matter. It's the person. So at the end of the day, it wasn't. I had told her that in the beginning. I was like, it doesn't, you know, numbers and anything. It's just how, you know, we come together and, you know, how we are together. That's all that matters. So I think it took some time, but it weighed in there and she actually agreed to it afterwards.
So let me ask you that. Let me ask you though, Jason, did you know were you immediately attracted?
Actually, immediately? Mm-hmm. I was terrified. She was scary. No, the way I would say it is, it's not, you know, not a bad way. Again, we were working together, and it was a very laid-back atmosphere where we work. And so, like, jeans and T-shirts laid back. And she walks in like this. And it was like, whoa, it's like, what's going on here? There's like a change going in. Like that. It was scary. But again, then months passed. I think we took a trip together, a group of us, not just.
Yeah, it was a work trip, right?
Yeah,
it was a work trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
And kind of after dinner, everyone just kind of hanging out, and her and I just last two standing and talking with her. It was like, oh, she's normal. It was scary in the beginning, but she's just normal. And then we started talking about her kids, and you know, I've sent her here, get them into soccer. You know, they're playing soccer, but here, go have them play soccer at one of the clubs. And I think that's kind of where the friendship just started. It wasn't trying to, you know, get together. It was just
looking
about
for anything.
Yeah.
I think, and we both had just exited relationships,
point,
like long-term relationships, And so I definitely wasn't looking for anything, and I don't think you were.
No.
Were either. It was just very relaxed. There was no, expectations or anything. We truly were just hanging out and talking, and it was great to talk to someone about my kids and about sports. I don't like sports. I'm not into sports. But Jason was, and I wanted to get the boys involved in stuff, so it was kind of like great to talk to him. And, it was probably like one of the toughest times of my life during that period. And I mean, gosh, Jason really kind of made it a lot easier for me.
No, you know what? That's very, very sweet. So at this time, either of you are looking for anything.
No.
And so the friendship started to build.
Yeah.
So then what happened? So you go on this trip. You're like, oh wow, she's cool, as you mentioned, and we can hang out. She's not intimidating in her Christian Louboutin shoes, which I am wearing today, by the way.
Very cute. Love those.
Well, no, I think from there, like you said, it was just hanging out. I think what really changed Alpa's mind, and you can weigh in on this, is it was our youngest birthday was the beginning of March, and she's like, I'm having 10 kids over, and so I coached soccer at the time, and I'm like,
freaking out, like, I'm going to handle
that's fine,
10
I'll come
boys.
over, I'll help you, whatever. And so I think we had like a bonfire going. I think they did s'mores. Then we went and played manhunt at the school across the street, and I think that's where she was like, oh, well, actually, this could maybe work. Like he's good with kids, and
that is
I think
kind of where, for me, it was. I don't know, just seeing him how he handled these kids, because he used to coach soccer for boys, young boys of that age group, and so he was very used to controlling a group of boys like that, and the way that he was with them, and the way they all respected him. For me, that was probably like the first kind of like. I found that very attractive, So, just after that night, I would just have little, like, feelings, but, always just in my mind, don't be crazy. You can't do that. But the boys started to bring up after that. So this is around March. We met maybe in October 2013. Around March, the boys are starting to bring up, like, Mom, why don't you go on a date with Jason? I'm like, oh, you're crazy, like, that's not going to happen, and we just kind of.
I think at the end of the day, you said it's only if they approve, that's when it was fine.
So Jason, like in April time, actually asked the boys for their approval before, I mean, honestly, we had already kind of crossed the line right before then, but he didn't want to move forward. And I always made a promise to the kids that I would never be involved with anyone, date anyone that they didn't absolutely adore, and so that was the promise I'd made them. So we, Jay asked them
at
for
Miguel's in Tampa.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so before we get to that story, which is so sweet, and yes, we love Miguel's too, so we can give them a shout out. When you said you guys had, crossed the line, so you guys had had your first kiss.
Yes.
Prior to that.
Yeah.
How did the first kiss happen?
Actually, it was out at a lunch at, oh man. It was out at a lunch one day. We were just kind of out there, and it was just her and I honestly, I don't even.
I think there were some cocktails involved.
Probably.
As well.
But it was around, like February, March timeframe. Like I think it was right before the birthday, right before that birthday. So I think that's kind of helped too a little bit. That's where I think some of those feelers kind of helped. But it was just out at a lunch, her and I, and I think a couple cocktails later, and.
The smooch. The big smooch. Okay, so this is so sweet. So Jason, you do not have children, right?
No.
I mean, of course, the boys are your children. I mean, I meant biological children. Of course, the boys are your boys as well. So at Miguel's, now, okay, they're 10 and at this, 10 and 13 at this time? Or how old are they?
9 and 11.
Oh, 9.
8 and 10.
I think they were 9 and 10.
So, they're really close in age. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, of course. Okay, so, all right. So then at Miguel's, what happens?
So we had told them that nothing would move forward unless they completely approved. And they're looking at each other, and they're taking this very seriously. So Rohan says that he's going to go to the bathroom, and they're going to discuss. So they left the table, 5 minutes later, they came back. They had said to me that they were going to, I forget what it was. They were going to
like tapping your leg or something.
Tap on my shoe or tap something if it was a go, if it was good to go, So sure enough, 5 minutes later, we're just like laughing. We thought it was the most cutest thing. They come back, they sit down, they're serious, and then the little one reaches over and kind of taps my foot like it's good to go. Like they were very happy about it. It was adorable.
Oh, man.
It was very cute.
So after that moment, would you guys say it was game on? I mean, it was just the two of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the four of us, actually. I would
Yeah,
say
it was the four of us,
It was four of us
yeah.
at that point. So we did everything, family, you could say.
Yes. And so how long after that was it that you got engaged?
Oh, it was another 3 years.
It was a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a little while. But I was still going through separating from my ex, and we wanted all of that to be completely done and moved on from before we started our journey too. So,
Talk to me about a little about starting a new journey together. Why was that so important, or why do you feel that is so important? Because the reason why I mention it, because the couple I had on a show said it was so important for them because they both also had, in fact, they're coming on after you guys because they're going to come on the holiday week because they got engaged on Christmas Day. So I thought it would be appropriate. So a lot of times the show is live, but sometimes we do tape it. But for them, they had both exited relationships and long-term relationships. And for him particularly, it was so important to gain closure that he wrote her a long email to gain closure. Why do you think it's so important to start fresh?
well, just to close a chapter, to close that chapter and not have any ongoing resentments or thoughts, or, when you want to move on, you want to move on and start fresh. So I think for me, I really just wanted to completely close that chapter and be like, okay, that's done. Now I can and not bring any of that baggage along with you, thoughts, insecurities, worries or what have you, into your new relationship. So it took a little while for us to, I don't know if we actually talked about married when we were initially dating and the kids, were okay with it. We had just agreed that they're happy, we're happy, and we were just kind of moving forward. But it wasn't like, we're going to get married, none of that. There was no pressure. It was truly, I was spending time with my absolute best friend. We would have a riot together. But then there's moments like we could really have serious conversations and debates and things, And then there's someone that, like, my kids absolutely adore, But we didn't talk about long-term, that whole pressure thing was not there at all. For me, anyway.
No, I don't think it was at all. And that was kind of... It was like we were married, but not, but it's kind of just...
Because he had moved in and, we were living together. It was like we were married.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were a family. You guys are building the family.
Right.
And Jason, you had been married prior too.
Yeah, my marriage was 10 years prior or so when I was younger.
Even younger.
Even younger. Yeah.
Is he blushing right there?
A little bit, yeah. So I had to keep the beard there.
But you had said, though, when you first met Alpa, you had also ended a relationship.
Yeah, I was in a long-term dating relationship at that point. And so it was kind of closing that off, same thing, kind of closing it off, closing that chapter and moving forward more. In the beginning of those first handful of months, it was just find myself, and then it actually opened up perfectly because that's when Alpa was, I kind of said find herself, and she was good to go and move forward as well. So timing was
It kind of worked
impeccable.
out.
It was perfect, yeah.
Perfect.
I'm so glad you mentioned timing, because we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, I want to talk about that very issue on timing. So we'll be right back, everybody. Stay with us.
The holidays are coming up. Why not give the gift of health for your skin? South Tampa Dermatology is offering a special through February, and you can save hundreds. You can get the ZO products I use for 12 weeks of care, a 3-step ZO peel, and a laser treatment. I've had them all, and I can tell you it is well worth the investment. It's another reason why I rely on the dream team at South Tampa Dermatology.
I'm Sarina Fazan, a journalist, producer, and podcast host. With a background in television news, I know how much time and talent it takes to produce a broadcast quality production. But no more. Red House Streaming offers a simple, cost-effective method for capturing live action and streaming it in real time to YouTube, Facebook, or any other website. From single camera shoots or multi-camera productions, conventional or virtual sets, and from the state-of-the-art Red House Streaming Studios to remote locations, the professional crew at Red House Streaming, backed by the technology and reputation of CP Communications, allows you to produce more content at a lower cost and with little to no engineering required. That's why my podcast, On the Record with Sarina Fazan, is streamed live from the Red House Streaming Studios each week. Contact Red House Streaming today at 800-762-4254 or online at cpcoms.com to learn more. I'll see you in the studio.
All right, so before we started the show, because I have to mention that, so during the commercial break, I was telling these guys right when they walked here about how much wonderful memories, this show can bring back. And it's so sweet that Jason, you're tearing up because you're thinking about the boys.
Well, yeah, I remember back at Miguel's, back when they approved us to start dating. It was one of those,
It was one of the sweetest moments. It really was. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what is so sweet too is like I had Tom Wallace on here, and he is the managing partner of Florida Funders, and it was a show on a father's influence, and he started crying. Oh. And you rarely see, and I'm not, I don't mean to be stereotypical, but typically, like I cry at the drop of a hat. But it's when a man tears up.
And he's not emotional.
Right.
At all.
He's not emotional at all. So why do you think you're feeling so emotional? I know it was a very precious moment at that time.
It was. It's just that memory and having them approve of it. It just was, I don't know. It pulls at those heartstrings and everything. It just, I don't know, it hit me.
It's so sweet. And then what about timing, guys? Because I know we were talking about this during the commercial break as well. Some people say, timing is everything. Yes, timing can be everything. But do you also believe, like at the time that you guys met, again, either of you were seeking relationships, but yet it still worked out between the two of you. Yeah. So do you feel, even if the timing isn't wrong, if it's the right people, or how do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I think it also depends, yes, if it's the right people, it will probably work out in the long run. I 100% believe, but timing, I do think it's got to be there, because at the end of the day, if we would have been in other relationships or, Alpa would have been married, things like that, it would have just it wouldn't have worked out. We probably could have just went, separate ways and things like that. But again, I go with timing of,
Our timing is so perfect.
Yeah, going on that business trip and everything and just kind of getting to know her. Like at the end of the day, if I didn't go or she didn't go, there wouldn't have been those timing. There wouldn't have been that it's a normal person. This is, this is good.
Yeah, or 5 years earlier, it wouldn't have worked out. Or maybe even 2 years earlier, it wouldn't have worked out, so.
Because of where you guys are.
Where we were
in your life.
Yeah.
Okay, so I always just say that this show's unscripted, unedited, and anything, you can talk about anything. So let me ask, and if it's too sensitive, just let me know. I just can't help it because, mean, this is all left. So like with the boys, and I know the boys are your boys too, but did you guys ever want to have your own kids, but age, and I know we're not revealing exact age, but that's all, you wonder about that too, right?
Yeah, for me, that was one of the blocks for me too. I always felt Jay is so fantastic with children, and I always felt like if we were to get married, I would be stopping him from having children. Like I would stop that, I would block that dream because, I'm not going to have any more children type of thing. So, and I communicated that to him, just saying that, look, it's not fair to you, for us to be together because that's going to stop you from, having children. But I mean, at the time, and I think, I guess you can.
Yeah, what I was saying, and at that same conversation was, well, I see these boys as my kids. Yes, missed the earlier years, but that's, to me, that's not a big deal. I'm here now, and we'll continue to move forward. And then even years past that, it was, well, we're also gonna have grandkids, get to play with them. So at the end of the day, it kind of just was like, I'm not missing out on anything. I didn't miss out on anything. I'm gonna be able to take part in all of that, with grandkids, those early years and things like that. So it was fine, because it's the person I'm with. It's not, what you're getting out of it necessarily. It's who I'm with and, who I love and want to spend time with. So that's what to me was more important.
You know, I honestly am so glad we brought up, you know, I asked this question because I love your answers on it. And even if not, I'm not saying it that because that truly, because I've seen it, because, you know, just as a journalist doing so many stories, that really can be a barrier, stop someone.
Absolutely.
Or people sometimes even, you know, are not truthful that they will have kids and then they don't have kids. I mean, you know, I've seen it all. But you were so honest from I love what you said too about the grandkids.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's how we think of it now. It's like just, I would love nothing more than to have a child or a day. Like, I just think it would be the most amazing experience. But, you know, it's just not in the cards for us, but that's okay. But the grandkids, you know what I mean? I'm sure there's going to be grandkids. Not yet, but eventually. So we're going to get to experience that. You know.
So as you said, Jay, I mean, no, I honestly, like, I'm even like, you know, like, my gosh, I can feel myself because it's just so sweet. Like when you said it really is the person.
Right.
And whatever the person brings from their past is if you love that person, that's the bottom line.
Right. Exactly. Well, and I think too, you made to me the biggest key of the whole relationship is the communication. Like you said, that I think was the biggest key, is having that open communication, ensuring we're both on that same path and track forward. Where I think, like you said, some people say it, but then they're like, oh no, I didn't mean it that way. Well, that's where it's going to have an issue with your relationship. But that's where I think constant open communication, I think that's the biggest key.
I'll tell you something funny. So Jay and I have, you know, so we get into these shows on Netflix, you know, the series that, you know, and sometimes we'll binge watch in the evening. So we want to unwind, so we'll watch a show. It takes us like 2 hours maybe to get through a 30-minute show because he more than me is constantly pausing to have these side conversations, and we have these conversations either about what we're watching or something that just came to mind, or, you know, and then we'll start, and it happened last night. And I'll say,
I missed the part of the show.
so I have to tell him, like, back on the show.
I want to go to bed tonight.
So there's so much communication. We talk a lot, you know.
No, but I think, you know, when you said at the very beginning of the show that he's your best friend.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I personally think that is the best relationship, because if you're best friends with someone and you have that romance as well, and you can talk to them about anything, I think you could get through anything.
There's truly, I can tell you, there's nothing I can't talk to him about. There's complete honesty. I mean, for me, there's zero. There's nothing that I can't talk to him about and just be completely open with. And if anything, I'm probably at fault for being am I not too honest? You know, I tell him good or bad, right? Do I not? Like, I'm just very, very direct, and just, and I love that. I love that I can just be me. I don't have to, like, in my mind, oh, how am I going to phrase this? I'm just that, you know?
Well, I have to mention too, like, I know we're not saying the exact age, but it may have gone out in a promo somewhere, just so you know. But with the two of you, the age difference too, that does not matter at all.
Not now. I mean, we don't think about it now at all. Like, it was just in the beginning when there was so many more unknowns, and, you know, I didn't really know his stance on everything, you know, initially. So that was more of a barrier in the beginning. But now, I don't know. We don't even.
Yeah, well, and I think part of it too, like you said, is you got to see me, you got to see my family, you got to realize the values behind all that, and you know, that essentially our families are very similar, even from across the globe.
That is the craziest thing.
They're very
I'm
similar.
from an Indian background and Indian culture. You would think that would be quite different and distinct from an American family, but when you really look at us, we're like, wow. You know, like, his parents are just like my parents. You know, his relationship with his brother is like my relationship with my siblings, and just the values and all of that. Like, we have so much in common in terms of that, you know.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's so sweet. It's like, you know, fate and timing again, you know, and everything brought the two of you guys together. Yeah. So what with the two of you, what advice would you give to other couples out there about having, you know, a beautiful and successful marriage like yours?
I would say exactly what we just talked about. It's the communication. Well, communication, I would say the other one's respect. You got to have both, because you can have the communication, but if you don't respect the other person, then it's going to break down. So I think it's both of those. I mean, yeah, you could throw, love, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to communicate openly, and then you got to respect the person. I think those are the two biggest things for me that I would say keeps it going and make sure that you get through. Like you said, there's tough times always come up. It will, but if you don't communicate, they probably will break you. So you got to have that.
What would you say,
I think
beautiful points.
I think having fun, like you got to have fun together. Don't ever take yourselves too seriously. We're always laughing. We crack jokes at each other, about each other. We're always having fun. So it has to be lighthearted. Obviously, there's serious times and things like that, which you'll go through. But, and I think the other thing is when you're actually looking for a partner, or even if you're not looking.
No, but I love that's okay. Yeah.
The whole dating thing, for me, it's like, horrible. We never dated, we never did that, thank God.
Never that awkward first date or anything.
Yeah, it would be awful. Because you go into that and you have all these preconceived notions about what that person should be or should say or should wear or what they should look like and different things. And you're already just eliminating some of the most important things about their personality and about their background and things that you do have that are very much so aligned. So, I think if we had dated, I don't know if we, I don't know if we would have moved forward like that because we were friends. All of that stuff was pushed away and the romance and the attraction kind of developed, underneath the friendship as opposed to just looking at someone on a complete, date and just judging them to pieces and cutting them off completely just because they don't match up to certain criteria that I have in my mind. Kind of thing. So
I think this brings up a really great point though, because so many people, so many women also oh my gosh, the dating scene. And I'm not a guy, so maybe with guys as well. But Alpa, what are you're saying that maybe there could also be a friend out there.
Yes.
In your words, right?
Absolutely. It can't all be based on just an initial attraction. Because, I don't look like I used to look 20 years ago. We're not going to look the same. You have to base it on other things. I think it's really, we talked about communication and respect. I think you also have to make sure that your values are aligned.
Yes.
Things like family values and, your thoughts on raising children and education of children, how are you going to handle your finances? Things like that are really important, when it comes to marriage and the longevity of a marriage, because those things can start putting cracks in a relationship, right? So all of that stuff. I don't know when you're dating someone, you're not going to get that out.
So to your point, I think the friendship is probably is bigger because then I can be around this person 24/7 or quite a bit of time and talk to them versus sitting at a bar and talking to somebody. How are you going to really know if you can, where that's going to lead? So.
I miss Jason when I'm not hanging out with him.
See, I do. That is, oh my gosh, because you guys are truly, it's love, friendship, and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
We have girls' nights, the girls all go out and stuff, and and I have fun. We all do, and I'll text him after, well, can you meet me here in about an hour?
Sweet. Okay, I have to say, full disclosure, because it's unscripted and unedited again. So I was actually at their house, and here's how much this guy loves you too. It's football. I'm obsessed with football. So even me, I'm just okay, when football's on, it has to be quiet because I need to focus on the game. He actually turns down the football game and turns up the music so Alpa and her friends can have a dance party. Now that's love. I'm one of the friends, by the way. Yeah. You guys are wonderful. You guys are wonderful. Is there anything that you would like to say in closing at all? Oh, wait, you know what? I didn't even ask. How did you propose?
Oh, yeah.
That's actually a great one. Yeah. So I actually was on a business trip, took Rohan with us, our oldest, and him and I came up with the entire plan, and we flew back from California and wanted to go. I said, let's go down to Anne Marie Island and we're going to go have dinner. And she goes, you just flew back. Why are we going down here? I'm like,
you
no.
must be exhausted.
Yeah. And so we planned the whole thing out and we got down there, walked on the beach, and then I proposed there on Anne Marie Island to her with the boys and everything. Again, their approval,
were completely in the
their
know.
support, their help all the way through it. And, again, that's kind of how our relationship has gone. It's, they got to be on board with it. They've got to be, a part of it. So that's.
So when he got down on one knee, the kids totally knew. So they had their cameras ready to go and take pictures and stuff. It was really sweet.
So
That
it's
is.
like, dress up, but we're gonna be on the beach, but because I know what's gonna happen. I'm like, I don't want to, you might show up in like sweatpants or something. And I'm like,
Really?
But
When do I wear sweatpants?
that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mrs. GQ, yeah. And then was the wedding. When did the wedding happen after the engagement?
So we have both obviously been previously married. We didn't want a big to-do. And this really was just about us and the boys. And so we just went down to
The courthouse
with the kids and a couple of friends of ours. And
We
just
told nobody until that
Yeah,
morning.
we actually didn't
that
tell
morning
anybody.
no one knew except for the friends that were going with us.
Yeah,
No one
and
knew.
the boys,
and
yeah.
we texted it out that morning and everything. Pair of lubes. I wrote the date on the back of them, set them up, took a picture, and sent it out to the entire
No
family.
way.
And they're like,
Yeah.
wait, what's going on?
He bought me
Like-
these very cute nude Louboutins to wear to the wedding.
To the wedding.
To the wedding. And then he wrote in silver marker underneath on the sole and just sent the picture out to all of our family and friends to kind of
Yeah.
let them know
Yeah.
what it had.
That
So,
was it.
yeah.
See, and this is why I love the show. I mean, what a great idea. And so that everybody knows, and that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
That was it.
No, we obviously had, I'll say, wedding parties afterwards, which is, my family, your family, friends, all afterwards. But it was, it's just us, and let's just go get married, and then we'll have a party and friends and everything afterwards.
We went to Aruba for our honeymoon, and we had such a beautiful time. The whole time we're thinking, we wish the boys were here just to experience this. So we finally got to take them, was it last summer?
Just this past summer, yeah.
Yeah, we got
because
to
of
finally
COVID
take
and everything.
them
It was just too difficult.
just to see all the different things that we had seen and stuff. So that was really nice.
Well, Jason or Jay and Alpa Kaylor, was so lovely having you guys on Love in America. And you certainly are a beautiful couple, and I love your love story. I love your love story. Hey guys, if you have a love story or any type of community story that you would like to share with me, please reach out. We actually have a new email and graphic that we're going to share soon. But in the meantime, you can follow me on all of these sites. Wow, they keep on building, which is pretty cool. Anyway, again, we would love for you to share this story, and I just think love, what is better than love, right?
Nothing.
Nothing.
We love
Nothing. And we love love, and they prove it. Have a great day, everybody, and stay safe. We'll see you next week.